Everyone. Good afternoon, everyone,
Good afternoon.
and welcome to the DYCD Community Action Board's Strategic Partnership Committee meeting. It's so good to see all of you, even in the middle of summer. I am Susie Tanenbaum, and I am the Strategic Partnership Committee chairperson as of our last meeting. So this is a new position for me. I have big shoes to fill. Ariel Savransky did an excellent job as chairperson of this committee. So I'm excited to follow in her footsteps, and I look forward to collaborating with all of you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our presenter this afternoon, Louiselle Romero. Yes, okay. Yes. Who is director of the Discretionary Contract Review and Compliance Department at the DYCD Community Development Discretionary Program Operations Division. So Louiselle, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I will begin with what is discretionary funding. And it is funds appropriated by the city council through a vetting process. And they request that there is an application. The application period is beginning of January and up to mid-February. So you have to also understand, and I want to say this first before anything else, it is a reimbursement-based program. So organizations must have funds available to run the program prior to them being awarded or being registered. Okay, so how does this work? Okay, so during probably the first week of January up until the second or third week of February, the application goes out. You have to keep track of the website to make sure that you are on point with regards, because the deadline is a clear-cut deadline. Nothing 2 seconds after that midnight of that last day. Who is eligible to apply? Eligibility requires that community-based organizations, not-for-profits, are registered with the Charities Bureau. They have an EIN number, and they can then apply. They go through a vetting process. The vetting process requires that the city council reviews to make sure that everything is in place in order for them to consider the organizations for awards. So next slide. So there you can see, and at the bottom it clearly notes, discretionary funding is a reimbursement-based program, and the organization should have the funds on hand to start to administer the program. That is very important, because when we are processing contracts, we get a lot of calls where, where's my money? And it poses difficulty for the organizations to continue running programs if they didn't put the money up front first. And it really, not that it puts us in a position, but sometimes we can only go as fast as the process can let us. So we also feel that if organizations know this up front, they can plan better. And again, how do you apply? You go to the city council website. The link is there. Oh, sorry, next one. Yeah. So you go to the website, and they'll have clear-cut dates. You complete the application. You upload the documents that are necessary for them to continue vetting. And if they decide that you are eligible, you can begin the process. They will notify you. The council decides on the awards, and they will notify you if you are one of the awardees. Now, there's different types of expense funding. We have member discretionary, And that is usually the local aging, anti-poverty and community safety and victim services funding. There's speaker funding, and the Speaker of the House decides, the Speaker of the Council decides the funding designated for that particular period of time.
Raw oysters or swimming in salt water. And all three victims, they all have one thing in common.
Mute yourself if you're not speaking. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's also member designated initiatives, and they have a specific purpose. So for example, food pantries during COVID, food pantries were designated funding. They were absolutely necessary in just about every community, and there were special allocations made for food pantries. We've also had New York City cleanup, digital inclusion and literacy, cultural immigrant, parks equity, and neighborhood development programs that are funded by the city council. These sometimes are allocated every year, and sometimes there are changes. Then there's citywide initiatives. They're created to address different needs across the city, and they typically designate these, and they have to be approved by the whole entire council. The council body has to approve these. And then lastly, we have the borough-wide initiative, and those are usually done by the borough presidents, and they decide what initiatives would benefit their particular borough. So this is going back to the application. This is a little off, but anyway. What is the vetting process? The vetting process requires that you have an EIN number with the Internal Revenue Service. And it also requires that there is a conflict of interest form filled out by the organization to verify that there will be no conflict with the city of New York if awarded. They have an authorization form within the packet that must be notarized. Okay, the organization's status is a not-for-profit. Now, this particular section is important because newly created organizations will, within the last fiscal years, will not receive funding in excess of $20,000 total. So for example, if you're a newly funded organization and you feel that your program is going to run for about $25,000, and that's what you're seeking, you will not get funded. Please make sure that you follow the rules, because they look at this and they could decline your application for awards based on the information you provide. And if it doesn't coincide with what their requirements are, they will decline the application. Okay, also, if you're new to the council, organizations that have not received funding within the last 3 fiscal years, these organizations may not receive funding in excess of $50,000 total, with no more than $25,000 from a single member. So again, pay close attention to the rules, because they can decline your application if you don't follow these particular rules. You also have to register with the Charities Bureau, as I mentioned previously, and they have particular requirements. I believe houses of worship must also register. So they are eligible to receive funding, but they must register with Charities Bureau as well. Okay. They will review your organization's past history relating to contract performance, whether it be with DYCD, Department for the Aging, or any other city or city agency. And you must confirm the description of the proposed program services meets the public purpose requirements, and that you will find in the application instructions. Okay, and lastly, news articles, social media, and internet. That is there because they do ask, how do you plan on informing your communities of your program? And of course, in this modern age, news articles, yeah, social media, definitely, and the internet. Now, after they review the applications and they decide, okay, these are the particular organizations we plan on awarding, they process what's called Schedule C. And you have to be on Schedule C in order for us to begin to develop the contracts. But It has to get approved. It has to get approved by OMB. They have to clear the awards. They have to release them to DYCD. So it's not as if you get awarded, you get your award letter, and then you get a contract. No, there's a process. You get awarded, you get the award letter. MOX has to clear the awards and release them to DYCD in order so we can begin the contracting process. There's also a transparency resolution, which is the budget document reviewed and voted on by the council in a public hearing. And this document approves the designations and or adjustments made to Schedule C or previous transparency resolutions. With that, they take and they review to make sure that those organizations that are awarded are approved by everyone in council and also by those that make those financial decisions. And with regards to budget modifications, this is reviewed and voted on by the council in a public hearing. This document approves the transfer of funds between contracting agencies. And lastly, there you'll see the website and contact information, the city council website, so that you can review every so often to make sure you don't miss a deadline. Also, around, let's say, the end of December, beginning of January, the applications will be posted. That's where you would get your information. And then with the city council funding search engine, there you'll see the allocations. And if you have any questions, please contact Assistant Commissioner Valentin Lopez, and he can be reached at discretionary@council.nyc.gov. Thank you.
So if there's
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anita?
questions, if there's any questions.
Right. Thank you very much, Louiselle, for that excellent presentation. A very timely topic, even, and it's good to be reminded of it or to get these updates in advance. It's very important. Does anyone have questions for Louiselle Romero? Who would like to ask a question first?
You can unmute yourself.
You can unmute yourself. Yes, thanks, Anita. So maybe people are thinking about what
Well,
there's
it's not a,
Darwin. Yes.
yeah, it's not a question. I would be remiss if not representing the Brooklyn Borough President's Office to just say, for the discretionary application process, our timeline mirrors a bit of City Council, but I believe we end a little bit before. So ours doesn't go live until, again, late December, early January, and folks would have to look on our website. I can't speak for all the other borough president's offices, but we also have our point of contact there, our budget director, Astrid Quas, that organizations can contact at any point in time regarding discretionary. And then for we also, excuse me, I'm speaking of capital. But discretionary, we do year long. We never close out an application here at Brooklyn Borough Hall. So organizations could apply and Borough President reviews quarterly. So that's the only addition I'll say for Brooklyn, but again, that is only for the Brooklyn Borough President's Office.
Very, very helpful information, Donovan. And to piggyback on Donovan, I represent Borough President Donovan Richards in Queens. I'm actually the Director of Nonprofit Opportunities. So this information is very valuable to me and to us. And Borough President Richards, similarly to the Brooklyn Borough President, has more capital funding than programmatic funding. And the capital funding deadline is earlier than the programmatic funding deadline. I believe usually the capital ends around February. The programmatic ends at the end of April. Louiselle, if I can ask a question, do you share your PowerPoint are you able to?
We can share it
with the committee members?
We will share it with the committee members.
Wonderful, thank you.
And I just want to clarify that I was referring to different types of expense funding, borough-wide initiative being one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Louiselle, what happens when the contracts get to DYCD?
The funding.
The funding gets to DYCD.
Well, when we get the clear list, we have to wait for them to be processed and we have to ensure that Mox has the money in the kitty. And then they get, I forgot what it's called, but it's like they put them in the system and then they designate program managers to process.
Talk to the.
I'm sorry. They designate program managers and the organizations receive an award letter from
Yep.
Assistant Commissioner Lopez, letting them know who their program manager is and how to contact that program manager.
Right. So this.
I want to, I'm sorry, Anita. I can't see you, Anita.
No, I'm not in in front.
Oh,
of
okay.
Want to share space?
There you are.
Here.
If I can, oh, did someone else want to ask? I have one or two other questions. One is you mentioned that there are two new sort of provisions of this process this year. You said one is if you're an organization that has not applied for funding in the last 3 years, and the other is if you're a newly created organization. Do you happen to know why they introduced these two new provisions?
Why they initiated this, I don't know why. I
Okay.
can find out and get back to you.
Sure. Yeah, I wonder if there's a certain logic to it, if they noticed certain things were happening in the past and they're trying to correct them or address them. It would just be helpful to know if possible. Thank you for that. And the last thing I want to mention is, and this is also kind of outside information, but I know Mayor Adams and Comptroller Lander recently announced that they are trying to make the process simpler for nonprofits. The contracting process simpler in general. And I wonder, you began your presentation by talking about how it's a reimbursable grant and organizations have to be able to put up the money in before they get reimbursed, right? Do we know if part of the mayor's and the comptroller's effort to make this contracting process easier includes like easier access to loans? Loans for community-based organizations? Do we have any information on that?
My understanding is that there will be loans and 3-year allocations. So rather than it be a 1-year contract as it currently is, they will begin a 3-year contracting process. And
Oh,
will be the availability for loans.
great. Thank you. Okay. So if anyone wants to ask a question, now is the time. Otherwise, thank you very much for your presentation. Anita, this is my first meeting, so I'm turning to you for guidance. I believe we're going to move on to the next agenda item, which is, yes, go ahead.
Introduce Valentin Lopez, who is the Assistant Commissioner of Discretionary. Maybe Val can answer that.
I know I was about to ask.
Hello, folks. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Welcome, Assistant Commissioner.
How are you? I hear there's some questions that are unanswered that we could probably answer now.
Well, Louiselle mentioned that you are the go-to person if our community-based organizations or nonprofits have questions about the process, right? She provided an email address to reach you, so thank you very much for that. Can you maybe tell the groups what types of questions might come to you?
So this year, like any other year, like you mentioned, I just listened in when you were talking about our directive for the reorganization of discretionary. So this year, I would assume that we're gonna get many questions in reference to the 3-year discretionary process, the new form, the new process. So those are the typical questions that we deal with in discretionary when it comes on a year-to-year basis. As you know, we probably have about 10 to 15% turnover in contracts. So all those new providers are always seeking information on how to move their contracts forward and how to proceed to get it registered. As Louiselle had mentioned, these contracts are all based on reimbursement expenses. So they always have questions about reimbursement and how can they get their money faster. What are the areas that they need? What type of insurance? These are all part of our presentations, and I'll be happy to have you attend maybe one of our presentations where we are out in the communities, meeting with our groups in the local areas, presenting on all the documents, all the rules, all the regulations. And those are the typical questions that we get on a yearly basis. Not only from new providers, but also new council members. We have a slew of new council members and their staff. So we're very responsive to all those questions as well.
Well, you must be very busy.
I
And
welcome it though. I love what we do. You know, we do a lot of great things. You're talking about, we handle about 42% of the discretionary process here. That's a little over $140 million. My staff is responsible for. I just control the chaos. My staff handles all the rest. I stand on their shoulders, right? They're the ones that do all the work along with the providers. And really, you know, we would love to get some money out the door. We have our family takes part in the program, right? All of our families. And we want to make sure that we get as much resources to those communities as needed. We know the lack of resources, so we want to be sure any role that we play, we want to make sure that we're able to make it a better experience for anyone who's coming through our doors.
wonderful. Well, of course, the participants in this meeting are the eyes and the ears of their community. So we look forward to getting more information as the process begins.
And I definitely thank you all for volunteering. It's not an easy thing to do, right? Especially when you go through a hard day of work or you got a long day and you still have to come to a meeting like this. I really appreciate your efforts and everyone on the call and all the NAB members that are part of all the groups who volunteer their time to have a stake in their communities and to support our efforts here at DYCD.
Thank you very much, Assistant Commissioner.
All right,
Yeah.
it's a pleasure. Thank you. You have a great
Yep.
evening.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you both. So
Okay.
Susie will share the document with all the information with everybody.
Great. Wonderful.
Leslie had a question about how to get discretionary funding, so it'll all be in there.
Great, great. Okay.
So the next one.
So then the next item on the agenda, is NAB membership report from the one and only Susan Patterson.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I want to emphasize, thank you for coming. I know it's late, the weather's kind of fuzzy. You want to relax, but I'm going to make it as brief as possible. Right now, we have 195 filled seats for DYCD. The elected officials only have 70 seats filled. That's big. And this, it's actually 70 out of 200 and I think it's 46 seats. So that's a big gap. We've always had some issues filling elected official seats. I don't know why. I can guess. Some of them are new. They don't understand who we are. But as of this week, we are going out in the field and we are soliciting to get people. I will also say that the members, rather the staff here at DYCD have been vigorously recruiting. We have over 70 pending applications that need to be filled by the elected officials. So we have a lot of work to do with our elected officials. And again, staff is going out. We have people going out today. I'm going out tomorrow. We are down some staff, but we are still forging ahead to try to get these seats filled. That is my report. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Donovan has his hand up.
Yes,
Yeah, so very quickly, just because we actually have some vacancies that we're aware of, Anita has kind of coached us through it, and it's the next step in our process. But what I would need is, that for some reason, the deputy borough president got an updated list, not just with our vacancies, but also just in general, the whole composition of each NAB, which we
Yeah.
would like, if that can be shared with us, just because we also have folks that we're noticing that I see off of, again, that fiscal list that was given to someone else that's not handling that work here in Borough Hall, that has overlap. We have folks that also sit on the community boards. I manage the community education councils. We want to make sure we're spreading the love throughout Brooklyn. And so while it's great to see the vacancies, we also need to see the current makeup of the NAB to make sure the recommendations and the folks we're marketing to are not the same folks that sit on multiple things.
gotcha. Well, we do have that list available. We'll get that out to you by tomorrow.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions?
There is a question in the chat, Susan. Karina from Queens 9 NAB, are you do you want to ask the question? I don't. You want to unmute and ask the question? Otherwise, I'll just read it. She asks if we're still using the old Senate maps. She said, our new senator has been out and about in our community, and I know he would fill some of these vacancies ASAP. So.
Who is? I'm sorry, Karina, put in the chat who your new senator is, and we'll look at it and see what we know that the lines are changing and that have changed, and we're trying to keep up with it. So we'll see, because it's based on the population and poverty within that Senate district. So with the state Senate district. So we will take a look at it and see if that senator is able to make recommendations.
Anita, Karina put the name in the chat.
Okay,
Senator Joe Adabo.
all right, we'll take a look at it.
Okay,
And
great.
get back to you.
You know, I know I introduced myself as being new to this position. I wonder if there are any other newcomers to this meeting. I just want to make sure everybody knows that Susan Patterson is the director of the NAB CAB liaison unit. And she is a wealth of knowledge. She's been doing this for a while. I've had the pleasure of also talking to her about vacancies and how to fill them. So, Susan, is there anything else you need from our committee on this front? Or like, is there certain types of outreach you're hoping to do?
What I always tell people, if you know somebody that lives within our 41 NDA areas and you think they would be appropriate for our purpose, please forward their name and address to us. We will follow up and see if they fit into one of our seats. If we have a vacancy, we're welcoming all applications. So
Great.
please, anybody you know, let us know.
Did you want to ask a question, Donovan?
Yeah, so sorry, just another question as far as outreach efforts are concerned, because again, we plan on making recommendations based off of the community board slate of applicants that we got, which we have tons. So that will hopefully help with outreach efforts. But some of these folks, then since they're not familiar with the NABs, they want to get familiar. But like even as I go to the website right now, like public meeting schedules, it's out of date or there's just nothing posted, which I think makes it a little bit difficult for folks that are not familiar with the NABs to become familiar. I myself would love to see some of these meetings in person and have yet for that to happen. So I don't know if that's like a website issue or if it's just a lack.
It's a website issue. We're trying to remedy that. It's supposed to be updated every Friday. It's like that's not happening. So we are speaking with our IT department and trying to get that updated.
Got it. If there's a paper version or something that can be shared, I think that'd be helpful when we do outreach to the folks that we're recommending to apply, so that they can attend an upcoming meeting and get familiar of what NABs even do.
Yeah, our deputy director of community development has been doing a tour of the borough president's office, and that's why your borough president received a list of all of the members within the Brooklyn. But we're gonna send that same list to you so you can see, and you can always refer anybody to our office. David will put the contact information in the chat, and you know, if we hear from you directly, we can, or hear from anybody with your constituents directly, we can have them give them the information that they need. If they want to attend the meeting, everybody's welcome to attend our meetings. They're open to the public, all of them, all the CAB meetings, all the NAB meetings, any kind of events that we have.
Yeah, again, and we've met, Anita, and you know this, we know that this is a gap, at least for our appointees, which is under my portfolio of work, so I'm the right person to talk to at Borough Hall. It's just, again, we need some of this up-to-date information when we're doing the outreach to the folks. So I'll touch base offline regarding this. Again, if we could just get, if that updated list can come to me, that's our next step, because CECs took my full attention, and now I can move forward with anything.
Great. People are asking more questions in the chat. Karina asked about council map changes and recommended clearer maps of the NABs, which could help with outreach.
We're working on all of that.
Great, thank you, Anita.
Yeah.
And, okay, Robert, you're DYCD first chairman. You have 6 members who would love to work with the community. You're from Van Dyke. Great. Welcome.
Yes.
Robert,
Thank you for
please.
having me.
Robert,
Yes, Can you hear me?
Yes.
we can hear you, Robert.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna submit those applications for the board members that would like to work. I got 6 members that would join the DYCD programs. So hopefully I can put them on my board. We have board members, but they ask to be into the board that we have right now. Can that be
Part of the
possible?
board?
Yes.
Yeah, if you have their applications, you just send it to us and we'll
Okay, great.
process them.
All right, that'd be good.
It's
Thank
all
you.
it's all based on residency. They have to reside within the NDA.
Yes,
So-
they live right here in Van Dyke, right
Okay.
there on Livonia Avenue.
Great.
Yes.
So just
Okay.
send it to us, and if we have room
Yes.
on the board, we'll put them on. And
Okay.
if we don't, they can always attend the meetings.
Okay,
Also.
that'd be good. That'd be good. Thank you.
Great.
You're welcome, Robert. Thank you.
All right. All right.
So we're already doing the recruiting. That's
Oh,
awesome.
wonderful. That's great.
If anyone else wants to ask,
16.
say that again, Anita?
The minimum age is 16 to join the board. To join any board,
Thank you for that reminder.
yes.
Okay, so unless there are any other questions about NAB membership, we're gonna move on to 2022 Community Needs Assessment Update.
Okay, so this
Thank you,
update,
Anita.
it will be short because we still don't have the results of the 2022 needs assessment, but I just wanted to thank all the members who participated and got surveys completed. We should have something, we're hoping to have something by the cabin full meeting, which is on September 7th. But if not, then it would probably happen in the November meeting. So stay tuned, we'll have the results hopefully in soon. It's being handled by a third party, not DYCD, so that's what the holdup is. And the decision on what the format is going to be is what the issues are. But it should happen soon. That's
Well,
it.
we await that with much anticipation.
Yes.
But it's always a great document, and this year it's gonna be bigger than ever, right? I mean,
Yeah, we, 38, no.
31,000.
28,000. It was 28,000. Yes, Susan
Okay.
was corrected me. 28,000 surveys were collected.
Yeah, incredible.
Yes, yeah.
So, thank you, Anita. Any other items?
I just would like to introduce our interns who have been with us for the last 6 weeks from our Ladders for Leaders program. And I'm moving the camera around so you can see. This is Serena on the left and Sara on the right. And today is their last day, so we're very sorry to see them disappear. But they're going to school and they're gonna come back as professionals and hopefully work for the city.
Well, it's an honor to have you at this committee meeting on your last day.
No, thanks for having us.
Where are you going?
Our schedule to come here. Yeah, we said we're gonna come to this meeting.
So where are you going to school?
Where are you gonna go to school?
I'm about to start my second year at NYU.
Wow,
I'm starting freshman year at York College in Queens.
yay.
They're both from Queens, Susan.
Yeah.
Donovan is smiling anyway.
We all win at the end of the day. We
That's
all win.
right, that's right. We're right.
The subway gets us everywhere, right?
And we're very proud of our young people
Yes,
in all 5 boroughs.
yes, we are.
So, yeah. So any old business? Any new business? Yeah.
The old business, we have Louiselle back again. She wants to clarify. I think she got an answer to the question.
Yes,
that
so
was asked.
the 2 questions I figured, there
Okay.
now, let me answer now.
Okay, here you go.
I'm back,
Let's go.
okay.
Great,
With
great.
regards to the expense funding, I misspoke, it's not borough president funded, it is borough-wide initiative funding that is designated by a borough delegation. So, so Commissioner Lopez explained that every council member gets an allocation for that particular borough, and they allocate to the borough. So I just wanted to clarify that, so, and that's called borough-wide initiative. And
Yeah.
then with regards to the question you asked regarding the newly created organizations, and he explained that this is not our rules, we don't know why they created this rule. That's part of the general counsel's office for the city council. That's their rule.
Got it. Thank you very much.
I don't understand why, but he said it had something to do with the vetting process and to make sure that their charities is up to date. That's the response.
Okay, thank
Your
you.
secretary who was doing our technical.
Very good.
And that's it for tonight, I think. Unless there are any other questions.
Well, this was a very productive meeting. Thank you, everyone, for your participation and for your patience with me. Looking forward to future committee meetings and getting a lot accomplished with all of you. And Anita, you are the orchestra conductor. Thank you for
You're welcome.
everything that you do.
Yes. So you just need
And we
a,
look- Go ahead.
you need a
Motion
motion to
adjourn,
close the
Donovan
meeting.
Swanson.
Motion to adjourn, Donovan.
And Clavis, the
That-
other.
Seconded.
Seconded by Clavis. Do we need to take a
Take a vote.
vote? Yeah, all, yes?
Yes, yes.
All in favor of adjourning this meeting?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Everybody have a good rest of the summer. We'll see you September 7th.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.